insufficient data. And we look at it, we go, oh, all right, fair enough. But not as human beings. We've got it beat. So what we do, we ask it a question and we can't give it an answer, and we start saying, maybe, what if? Okay? So we've got our perfect computer up here, the most powerful computer on earth in our head that works on a binary system perfectly if you use it as a binary system. But in our infinite wisdom as human beings, we have added maybe, what if? Now, if you can't answer the question, you haven't got 100% of the data. And most of your stress and most of the problems in your life are caused by you projecting information into the future, trying to work out what's going to happen. Agreed?
Yes.
When you're lying there in bed, tossing and turning, it ain't trying to decide how to make a cake or whatever. It's about, oh, I wonder what happened if. What if we go on holiday and it starts bloody raining? What if, okay? We're trying to solve things that don't exist. And our mind, our brain, cannot work with it because you've got to have 100% of the data. So, using that information, and this is where your stress comes from. This is your anxiety and your problem there. You've asked a question here, okay? And that question, you can't give it 100% of the information because you said, what if I start a business, I wonder if it'll go skint in 2 weeks. I wonder if this will happen, I wonder if that will happen. And you start all these problems in your head turning over. But you're here thinking about there. Follow this because this is going to help you in your life, seriously. You're here thinking about here. This does not exist, right? But you're stressing out about it. Make sense?
Yeah.
So, that distance from here, I think you can last. This is me graphic, look, stress. So you can decide and make a conscious decision to go from this point into an unknown point in the future, right? Worrying about this and trying to solve this problem. Who's ever done that?
Oh yeah.
Right. So, that is a signal. When you haven't got all the information, that is a signal to relax. Because you can't solve it. But, in our infinite wisdom, as human beings, given the intelligence, we've decided to turn it into a signal to stress. Then it don't make no sense, does it? Because we could spend that period of time from there to there being happy, relaxed, right? The only thing that's not letting us do that is that we're programmed to stress. Life has programmed us to stress. If you can't answer a question with yes or no, it's your signal to relax. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yes, good.
Yeah.
So we are responsible for all this stress and aggravation in our life. How long have I got?
Oh, a long while.
Oh, well,
Right,
you've only
okay, so I'm
done.
going to go into it straight now. Right, so over the last 20 years,
How long have they spent?
25 years
Another
now,
15 years.
I've been back in England 5 years. Right, during that period of time, and I've got to rush and be a bit jumbled because I want to get as much as I can into you, I worked out the perfect recipe for success. Who would like to hear the perfect recipe for success?
Yeah, well,
Because everyone reads all the books. And if you put every book ever written about self-development, it would cover the face of the earth 10 books deep. Truly. And every one of them would be saying the same thing, but making it difficult so that you part with your money. Oh, that's what you do, stand on one leg and tap your head. I know the bloke who invented EFT. I know the secret behind what that's all about. It's only about a different way of saying the same thing that people have been saying for years anyway. All those things are just to make it seem special. All you need to do is have focus. So, the secret recipe of success, as quoted by Uncle Cross, is this. Number one, you've got to know where you're going. Who knows where they're going? Who's got a vision for the future? Right, those with their hand up are delusional.
Oh,
And those with their hands down are telling the truth. But the people who put their hand up, unfortunately, you've got a vision of where you think you can go. Where you think, because you're limited by what you think you can achieve. And whether you admit that or not, that's the truth. You don't actually put in exactly what it is you want. So when you're creating your CMI in the future, okay, you've got to actually make it what you want, not what you think you can get. And it mustn't contain money, because our friend here will tell you, you can't visualise into the future what money's going to be worth. If you go back 10 years for £1,000, in a minute £1,000 will only buy a cup of tea. So if you put money in your vision, you're going to limit what you can achieve, okay? Because without getting too deep, what you actually put up here, providing that you've got faith and belief in it, that's what you're going to get. So be careful what you put in here, but make it what you want. And the only reason we put it 10 years into the future is for the simple reason, two things cause stress: time and money. And it's normally the lack of both, right? So they're the only things that can cause real stress in your life. Think about it. So you don't, I limit that, because if I said to you, make a vision, a clear mental image of what you want, and we're going to have it by Wednesday, you go, you start stressing, you see, because we're programmed there, aren't we? We start stressing because there's not enough time. How's it going to happen? We try and work out how's it going to happen. Right, we don't need to work it out. The only thing we need to do to start the process, change of pen, the only thing we need to do to start the process is make here where we want to be. Because most people are here thinking about this or something else, and they're missing now. Because they're so desperate to get somewhere else, and they say, do you know what? When I get hold of that few quid, or when this happens and that happens, I'll be happy, I'll be all right. You can't store happiness, you can't work towards it. You're either happy or you ain't. And unfortunately, if you're a miserable bastard now, even if you're given £1 million, you'll be a miserable bastard with £1 million, right? It doesn't change your mind, it doesn't change anything, the money. So you've got to make yourself happy now, okay? So important. Don't look everywhere else for a solution. What you've got now is all you've got any control over. Make sure you use it properly. So, you've got now where you want to be. You've got a destination, but the third thing that you've got to do is get rid of all the crap in the past. Because I get clients that come into me with their head in their hands and they go, I said, what's up? Bloody divorce settlement's killed me. When was that? 10 years ago. What? You're still worrying about something that happened 10 years ago? Well, it was unjust. Man, what's happened's happened. We can't change it. If you can't change it, there's nothing you can do about it. You've got to move on. You've got to clear this. So there's two questions that you can always ask yourself in life. If you're ever faced with a situation that you think is going to cause you a bit of stress, right, ask two questions. Have I done everything I can? Is there anything else I can do? Now, if you answer those two questions and get a yes or no answer, right, forget it. Remember the picture about the stress? Ask the two questions at this point. Have I done everything I can? Because you will be given the tools and equipment to deal with every problem you get in life. Who's ever had a major problem in their life? Where is it now?
Dead.
In the past. So you've got 100% track record of solving problems, right? But everyone who comes into me, they say, what's your problem? Oh, well, thanks, Cross. Thanks a lot. Yeah. No, what you're saying is lovely. Look, it makes sense as well, but you can't help me with this one, because this one is the worst one. It's the biggest one. It's the highest one. It's the widest one I've ever had. There's no way around it. Rubbish. You've got 100% track record of solving problems, so don't actually visualise a problem in the future. Try and solve it now, right? Yeah. And drive yourself bloody mad. See, we're programmed wrong. You've got to upgrade what's happening up here, because you're in total control. But you're giving that control away, because you're trying to live in everywhere else other than now. Start living now, get rid of the rubbish in the past, okay? And if there's someone or something in your past, forgive them. Forget it, right? It's got nothing to do with them. Because most people say, no, I ain't forgiving him. I ain't forgiving him because what he did to me. No, it doesn't. It don't work like that. The forgiveness releases you. There's only one prisoner, and that's you. You're locked up. I dragged the problem round with me for 2 or 3 years. I couldn't get off the ground. I'd read every book written. I'd been to every seminar. I'd done everything possible, but I couldn't make it work for me because I'm dragging the past round with me. A geezer nicked a business off me in Australia. Multi-million-dollar business. Right? I wanted to kill him. Every morning I was getting up with a mindset of what can I do to him today? What can I visualise doing him today? Oh, let's rip his arm off and hit him round the head with this. Anything nasty. So my day was being conditioned by something that had happened in the past. Ruining the day, right? Until I had a little kick right at the circle of thought, once again trying to work and solve things that couldn't exist, right, at night, and getting up the next morning and putting myself in the same mood because I've got the same thing that I'm trying to solve that there's nothing I can do about. So if you've got a problem in the past, whatever it is, don't start thinking, oh, you know, because of what they've done. Release them, release yourself, because you are the prisoner. So, who's ever said, I wish I'd been in the right place at the right time?
Oh, yeah.
Right. With this system, it don't matter. Because most of you are over here. Right? Over here. Haven't got a direction, don't know where you're going. Right? But, if you're here, lost, but you don't think you're lost, that's a shame. Because you don't think you're lost, you think you're all right. But you are. So, oh, squirrel. Oh, shiny object. Oh, bubbly. Oh, anywhere will do, won't it? Because you don't know where you're going. See, people say to me, I feel lost. I said, well, where are you going? I ain't got a clue. Well, how the bloody hell can you be lost if you don't know where you're going, right? So, if you're here, you cannot fail so you know where you're going. Like a sat nav. Back on track. Got it? So provided you know where you're going, you can get back on track. So that applies to the opportunities. I wish I'd been in the right place at the right time. These are opportunities, right? Most people in life go around going, oh, you'll get that to do, that's a bit of an opportunity, I like that. What we got here? Oh, foot. That'd be handy. We think everything's an opportunity, and we end up with an armful of bloody rubbish that don't make any sense. Who's got a lock?
Yeah.
Who's got a loft?
Yeah,
You have.
I'll keep that mug with no handle, just in case. Just in case I need a mug with no handle. Get rid of it! That's what we're doing. We go through life thinking things are opportunities. They're not. When we come back from Australia, we went with 2 20-foot containers. We come back with 9 tea chests, and 5 of them was my daughters. After 25 years in Australia. Get rid of the past, it's brilliant. Just live in the now. So, opportunities. The reticular activation system, which our friend over there will know about. You buy a red car, and what happens?
See red
Who
cars.
built all these bloody red cars? You don't stop seeing them, do you? So if you want to shop, if you want to start a business and you want an empty shop and you drive up, where are we, Basildon High Street, how many empty shops will you see? Bloody hundreds, especially in Basildon. Anyway, you see hundreds of them. I drive in through Basildon High Street, how many do I see? No, I see them all. But they don't register because they don't make any sense to what I'm doing. See what the filtering system now we don't go picking up the empty yogurt cartons and the cups with no handles and all that. We know where we're going. So this is a filtering system. When you think it's an opportunity, you ask yourself, is it something to do with where I want to go? Will it serve me? Will it get me to where I want to go? And if it don't, leave it where it is. But we end up with all these things. It's like we get a business when we start business and we start doing everything, don't we? Right? You were meant to be a bricklayer and the next day you're mowing someone's lawn because it's going to help, right? Because you don't know where you're bloody going. You've got to make sure you know where you're going and everything starts making sense. The lovely thing about this as well, who's ever had a business plan?
Well, yes.
Who's ever been asked for a business plan?
Oh, yeah.
That is the bank's joke on human beings. They don't mean a bloody thing. Do you know that? They don't mean a thing. How on earth can you work out what's going to happen in your business? You've got to be flexible. I had a client come in the other day. He said, Cross, guess what's happened? I said, what? He said, I bumped into a geezer in the car park and we got out and not too much damage and we swapped cards and he actually makes them smart meters what we want to sell. Really? Yeah. So we swapped cards and I've just done the biggest deal of my life with him. Well, you imagine writing to a bank and saying, well, I'll tell you how this is going to work. I'm going to bump into a geezer in the car park, we're going to swap cards and I'm going to get a big order out of it. They're going to think you're mad.
Yeah.
Business plans ain't worth a lie. You can't work out what's going to happen. Provided you know where you're going, guess what happens? It unfolds naturally. You don't need a plan. It don't mean be irresponsible. You've got to know what you're doing in your business, but you don't need to drive yourself mad working out. Like, yes, and in the third month we're going to take 20 grand. In the fourth month we're going to take 60 grand. We'll have a bit of a dip round Christmas because it's not a Christmas related. What a load of rubbish, eh? What a load of rubbish. Spreadsheet millionaire, right? It's easy on paper, isn't it? But when you come out and try and do it in real life, it's got no relevance to real life, has it? So, everyone clear on this?
Yeah.
Right? Know where you're going, make where you are where you want to be, and get rid of the crap in the past. Who's got anyone in the past that they can think of that they're going to forgive?
Oh yeah.
Good
Family.
girl. No one else? You've all got great, no problems from the past that you're dragging around with you? Because you know why we do it, don't you? You know why we do it. You know why we have them things in the past, don't you? Because it's an excuse. It gives us a reason. It gives us a reason for things to go wrong, doesn't it? So well, it would have been all right, but it was that divorce settlement that done it. And 10 years you've been actually working out all that, dragging it around with you. I call it the rucksack. You start off, you've got a problem, things in the past. And then things go wrong, you say, yeah, it would have been all right if he hadn't hit my business. Oh, no, you'd have been the rucksack. So eventually you filled the rucksack up so full you can hardly move. You're pinned to the floor, right? One last thing, who has trouble sleeping?
Yeah.
You're great, I tell you what, you ought to write a book. You honestly, you should write a book. You have got the perfect life. Right. You know what we said about solving things that don't exist? That's what you do. You know when you're lying there and you can't sleep, what are you doing?
Thinking over.
Call that meeting tomorrow. If he asks me this question, I'm going to say that. And if he asks me that question, I'm going to say this, right? Okay. You get in there, you've got all the answers ready on your little cheat sheet that he's going to do, and you walk in there and says, how you going? All right, have a good weekend. That ain't on my sheet. You don't need all that preparation, right? Things come naturally. We ain't got a thing in here when we start talking to each other, have we? A little thing, hang on, if he says that, I'm going to say that, right? Just let things flow naturally. So, your problems at night, when you're tossing and turning, you are trying to solve a problem that does not exist. Right? Now, if there was a medical team coming here now and asked why you've got an headache and what your problems are, and you say, I'm trying to solve something that don't exist, they'd get a straitjacket out and whiz you straight up the hospital. Because it ain't a normal thing to do. But we've made it normal in today's society. We need the stress. But if you're having trouble sleeping, you've got circular thought. What does the brain need to make a decision? What does it need to make a decision? 100% of the data. Yeah? Okay. So you're stressing here, why? Because you haven't got 100% of the data. Got it? Now follow this. So you think of anything in your life that you love. I always think of playing golf. And I'm good in my dreams and all.
Well, that's a bit sad. What about me?
Anyway, so anything...
I said, that's a bit sad. What about me?
I've had 51 years to get over that. So, you think of anything that's been good, whether it's
Divorce.
having your baby.
Sounds like one.
If the divorce was great, at least you know the bloody outcome, don't you? Unless you're still dragging it around with you, right? Think of anything in your life that you know the solution. Got it? Because if you know the solution, guess what you've got? 100% of the data. It's so simple, isn't it? Right? So you've got 100% of the data. So you just slot in here, you actually concentrate now to stop trying to solve things that don't exist, and you slot in the situation that you know the result. Because then your conscious mind can relax. Does that make sense? Because it's got 100% of the data. So whatever it is you're thinking about, I normally go like that. And sometimes I wake up and I want, oh shit, I want it to go further around. I want it to go to the ninth hole. And normally by about the third tee, I'm nodding off. I sleep like a baby. I sleep better today than when I was a baby. Seriously. Annoys the shit out of her, really, but never mind. So, there you go. That is a way to solve your sleep deprivation. Won't happen straight away. Like all these things, you've got to work at it, right? But all these things, all this self-development and everything, it's a lifetime skill. I still consider myself a student, and I've studied it every day, taught it every day for 25 years, right? But I still consider myself a student, because if there's a better way to explain something, or a better way to tell someone about it, I want to know about it. Because I believe after 25 years, I have got rid of all the rubbish, right? No standing on one leg tapping your head. No wandering off into nirvana, whatever they call it, and all the bits and pieces. That only to focus you. Now, if you can't focus on something that you would love to own, what you would love to have, then I can't help you, right? But we are programmed to say we can't get it. And I'm here to tell you, you can. How long have we got?
You've been
You're there.
just gone a
Sorry.
minute.
Well, there you go, that's it.
It was worth it.
They used to call me the hook in the old days. He we'd run and put
You're
cross
half an hour
on.
over.
Get the hook ready though, so we can drag him off when we've had enough. Anyway, thanks very much. I hope it's been helpful.
Thanks a lot.